Hey y'all, welcome back. It's a new year. It's 1 year since I started this channel, and that was the 1st of January. Unfortunately, I couldn't get my stuff together to actually have a video filmed and ready for that day. It's been a stressful season, y'all. It's just been one thing after another after another. But I'm going out tonight, so I thought I would sit down and use my most used and most loved makeup from the last year. I have everything here from lip treatments. We're going to start with this one from Juvia's Place that I hacked, or I frankened by adding in that e.l.f. honeydew lip gloss. It's so nice. It's so nice. So I have a little bit of like a fungal stress breakout over here. I get them about twice a year. And we're gonna talk concealer here in a moment. I'm gonna pull my hair up and then we'll start actually putting on makeup. I do have some brushes from Refer. Some of these are new, some of them are new to me, but we're gonna play with these as well. All right, I zoomed you all in. I finally got the hair up. That was a bit of a challenge. But we're here. We got it. Let's do it. So the first thing I want to talk about is my brows. I have been on a journey this year of like brow gel, brow pomade, pencil. I've kind of been using it all. And the one that's gotten the most play this year has been the Kosas Airbrow. As of late, I want to say I bought this in the spring. So April. As of late, it has started leaving these awful, annoying little balls of product in my brows. And they stick. They will not move. And if I try and use a spoolie to get them out, my brow just, the pomade comes out. It's a mess. So this is getting decluttered. It's going into the declutter box. I'm wearing the Merit. That is a gorgeous brow gel. It really is. I don't need a whole lot of hold, but I need help like filling in these areas where the tail of my brow is practically invisible. For base products, I pulled out one thing because it literally is my most used. This is the Givenchy Prism Libre Skin Caring Concealer. I have this little breakout thing, and yesterday I tried covering it with like the NARS Soft Matte Concealer, which is full coverage, but it's also dry. And this has texture, and because it's right next to my mouth, it moves a lot. So I need something that has some flexibility. I went out and ran some errands today, and I came back after putting this on, and I was amazed at how not crusty and crunchy it looked. So we're gonna use this, and I don't really want slash need much, but I do want to cover those guys. I have absolutely been loving this concealer this year. Lately I have been using other stuff, but that's just because I have other stuff that I'm learning about and getting to know. There are some things that will be coming up that I'm excited about. So I feel like this doesn't even need much blending. If I do spot conceal, which I did, and I look really closely at the way the color melds with my own skin, it's a little yellow, but not much. It's not really discernible as a different color, and I like that very much. You'll also notice I went over my brows and they didn't budge. The concealer is nice and hydrating. Speaking of which, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to put a little bit of this on my finger and use that to really spot conceal. It's hard concealing things that are in the corner of your mouth. And this is fungal. So I have like a footage cream. I've got prescription stuff. I've also got hydrocortisone, and I've been using my tretinoin, my tretinoin on it, and it seems to be drying up nicely. I've also been taking extra doses of lysine, which I believe is an amino acid. I'm not a chemist, and the person who was in my family who was a chemist is no longer with us. So, Alexa, what classification is lysine?
Lysine is an amino acid and protein supplement.
It is an amino acid. My dad would be so proud. My dad would be so proud. But it also boosts like collagen in the lips. And when I find I get stuff like that, it helps. It helps shoo it away. All right. I've already got brows on. That's normally where I would go next. Let's do some contour. I don't know if this is still available. I don't know, but I love it. And it's the contour stick from Oma. I did recently pick up the contour from e.l.f. and we'll be talking about that in a later video. So this I just like to use a brush on. I would not swipe a stick like this on. I'm gonna go back up here. We're gonna draw a nice little angle from the eye to the hairline. And you can see what that does. It kind of cuts the cheekbone and gives the eye some more shape. Oh, y'all, I don't know what it is about this holiday season. It was so stressful. It was so stressful. Like, I don't think I ever actually got into the holiday spirit. And I think part of that is I've been like really working to protect my peace and my mental well-being. And a big part of that has been setting boundaries and not taking on too much. Unfortunately, that has not been the way of it, especially during the holiday season. Like, I'm Jewish. I love Hanukkah. I don't think I lit the menorah once this year. I just didn't do it. I was tired. I was, spent by the end of the day. Sure, we'll contour the nose just a smidge. Under that lip. Why not? Yeah, I like that. Like even getting my tree up and getting it decorated. Yes, I celebrate both Christmas and Hanukkah because my dad was not Jewish. My mom was. Hanukkah was important. Hanukkah is not really a holiday that she grew up celebrating, but my dad loved Christmas. So we made a deal of celebrating Christmas. We still do on occasion, but I need a brush for my blush. I have two cream blushes that I have been using over and over and over again, and I love them both so much. And they are both called Latte. They're both called Latte. We've got Finding Ferdinand. We've got the Khaki Reviews Beauty Summer Abroad blush in Latte. I am not actually using this. I am saving this for swatching and finding or making a dupe. I know that Jason from Phytosurgeons has been making weird blush colors. So I would really love it if he made one of these in the Skin Spark blush balm formula. Oh, that would be so nice. That would be so nice. But the one we're going to use today is Anastasia. This too is Latte. It's cooler and it's more rosy than the AB or the I have not slept well in 2 nights. All right. It's just lovely. Again, I take my cheek products all the way up to like under my brow bone because I feel like it highlights and shapes out my cheekbones and works my eye into the whole thing. And then I'll bring it across my nose. Just really, really beautiful, easy to use stick. Let me show you something. That is how much I've used. That's a lot for 3 months, 4 months. I got this in September during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale. It's a stunner. It's easy. It's creamy. It blends beautifully. It blurs, but it's still got this really nice sheen to it. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. So I do not have, yes, I do. Yes, I do. It's staring me right in the face. So I have two cream bronzers in front of me. You will notice a theme as we go through putting on my makeup because I have a fair amount of bronzers that I use on a regular basis. So this is shade 3 in these are the Phytosurgence Spectral Sunlight Bronzers. I have shades 1 through 4. 3 has been my favorite. It's a little warmer, but it's also just a smidge more neutral. And it gives me just this beautiful, easy shape without being too fussy or hard to work with. It's not overly pigmented. They did update this formula, which thank you. The other 3 I have are a little more waxy, a little harder to work with. You know, this one's got like a bit of a crusty, dry texture. It's not crusty. It's a little dry, but that's okay because it really does layer. It layers nice and slowly, so you don't look like you've necessarily been out in the sun. It just creates shape and dimension, which is what contour bronzer is supposed to do. Number 1, we will get to momentarily. Let's talk eyeshadow. The most used eyeshadow I have, this is going to be its last hurrah in my makeup collection. It's the Rowan Mood Forever quad. I love this thing. I'm okay using this one for the last time because I did buy a new one secondhand. So this palette originally runs like $56, I think. The brand new quad is $52. I paid 16 and then I think I paid like 8 or 10 in shipping, and it's perfect. It's never been swatched, it's never been touched. It's gorgeous. And I had no problem buying it secondhand. So this one will come in as soon as we're finished with this one. I honestly just like to use my fingers. That is what I love about this palette is it doesn't take any brain power. I don't have to go hunting for brushes. I can just use it the way I want to use it, and it gets a little creasy, but I'm okay with that. So I started trying to pan this earlier this year. And the thing I discovered is this white highlight shade makes everything else just really stand out. So I put this down first. And I am going to grab an eyeshadow brush. This is just a Refer 16. It's one of their fluffy eye brushes. I didn't realize I had one and I bought another one, but that's okay because I use fluffy eye brushes. And this is just to help it all settle down and get situated. So my favorite shade in here is this one. It's a basic early, light raisin. And it's, for me, so skin native and so easy to work with that it just kind of feels like it was made for me because it does what I want it to do without being crusty or weird. That right there is the big thing. It's also a color story that really does complement my skin tone, my eye color, all of that. I think it's gorgeous. I do also have the Eyes on Me, which is a little bit more terracotta. Oh yeah, it's time. This is starting to kind of clump as I'm putting my finger in that second shade. So yeah, this is the last hurrah of this palette. All right. I'm gonna go into this little, it doesn't look like much, but it is just shiny. I'm gonna put this over the middle of my eye to just create some brightness and make it look like my eyes are just a little rounder than they are. Just a little highlight over the center. Yep, this is starting to, like, as I use it, it's starting to push its way out of the pan. I think the formula is a little bit drier than it was, but I have had this palette for years. I want to say I've had this palette for like 4 or 5 years. And this year it has just jumped out at me. Like, this has not been a year for a lot of eyeshadow for me. And this palette has just been my support system. I know I can go to it when I need it. Thank you. Thank you for your service, friend. You are in the declutter basket now. So now we have the newbie to introduce to the family. What do I have as far as eyeliner? I hadn't really thought that far. I have cinnamon, but it would not work with this. I'll think on it while I do the rest. Okay, so at this point I've done mostly creams, and I go on top of my creams with powders. I just do. It's how I like to build color. It's how I like to build the opacity. The three face powders that I have used most this year. The House Labs bronzer in shade Level Light 1. I dab the brush off in the mirror. And this bronzer was almost new when I got it, which was over the summer. Again, secondhand. I really like this formula. It blends nicely. It's like a hybrid cream to powder, so you can feel the pan. You can kind of press into it and it'll leave an indent, but that indent will wipe away as soon as you press it again. The texture is just bananas. I'm going to take just a little bit of this on a that rougher 16 and go over my brow bone. I know I put that shiny eyeshadow there, but I also do want to build in some depth. Blush. This was easy. This is Behave from NARS. It is just the perfect, goes with everything, beige nudie blush. And I'm going to use this Rephr 30. This is a new brush that Rephr released. And they offered a pay what you want system. And they do this a lot when they come up with new brush formulas, new brush shapes and sizes. They just want to get them into the hands of their customers. So I think I paid like $20 for this, and it MSRP's for $100. Look at that. It is actually a very nice blush brush. It doesn't pick up too much. You know, I think we have a fear of using big brushes, and we shouldn't, because big brushes are amazing. I'm gonna take this up into my bronzer and just circular buff, 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 buff. That's really pretty. And it's very easy. So I realize I'm a little far from the camera, but you can see the texture of that concealer on my skin. I do need to go in with a brow pencil and kind of touch up the edges. I left the house earlier and I put on my brows and a little bit of concealer and I left. I went out and ran a handful of errands. So this is the 1990. Oh, shit. This is the 1990 brow pencil from Merit, and overall I really like it. My problem is it's so slim and thin that it breaks at like the drop of a hat. You twist up just a little too much and you'll feel it break. Okay, this is not something I used a ton of this year, but I feel like I need it right now. This is another one of those NARS talc-free blushes in the shade Infatuated. And I'm going to use a 37. It's the same shape as the 30, but where the 30 has much longer bristles and has some momentum, it has some mobility. This one doesn't. It's a little more densely packed. The brushes are just a little bit slimmer. The bristles are just a little bit shorter and they're more densely packed at the base. So the brush doesn't have that much more mobility than it's a smaller area brush, which is exactly what I need. I just want something to go up here underneath most of that, underneath my cheekbone, because I'm blush contouring. Sure, that's what we'll call it. And this is gorgeous. I love it. I do love it. I want a little bit more bronzer. A little bit more bronzer. I do really like a big, round, fluffy brush for this. And this one even has a point. This is the Sephora 50. Yeah, this is one of the Sephora brushes. Well, I have a yearning to get something pierced. Like maybe up here. I already have my daith pierced, but I met a friend at the mall last week and she was like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, "I want to go into Sephora and touch things and I want to get something pierced." We didn't do that. Instead, we got her a dress to go to Vegas. We tried going into Sephora and oh my God. It was what, Tuesday of this week? So it's the week after New Year's and kids are still on break until Monday. So everybody and their mother and their sister went into Sephora. I'm just realizing I put on all of my cream layers and I didn't use any of these cream brushes from Refer. It's fine. I will be filming other videos with them in the future. These are a synthetic line that are meant to be used with creams. So they're really dense, they're short, and they've got this cross-cut angle that I love. I've used all three of these multiple times and have no complaints. All right, highlight. This is the Natasha Denona High Gen something highlighter in the lightest shade. Have I mentioned that I love this thing? It's great. Let's use this brush for it because it's more of a stampy brush. And I am going to highlight like this corner of my eye. Pretty. So I have new subscribers over the holiday. So thank y'all for joining me. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate y'all being here. I've been doing this for a year. I have less than 100 subscribers, but I'm okay with that. We're building slowly. We're learning, and that's the important part. There we go. I love what that highlight does. Now, I want to talk about my other favorite highlight. I'm not wearing it right now. I'm probably not going to, or I could just tap it on top. I could do that. This is the Merit Day Dew highlighter in the shade Bounce. At first, I was less than impressed with this. Yeah, I was. I was less than impressed with it. And I decided over the summer, like, oh, look, I'm not doing a look with a lot of layers, not doing anything complicated. Maybe I can use that highlighter. And you know what? I'm really glad I did. It's the same tone as the Natasha Denona. So you can see there, it's this wet, very reflective balm highlight. And this one from Natasha Denona, like the pan, like you can just sit there and mush around in the pan and it'll go back to its original form. There we go. Okay. So that is the Natasha Denona. That's the Merit. So there's very little difference in the color. The difference is in the texture. So this is obviously a balmy, creamy formula, whereas the Natasha Denona has that like creamy base, but it comes off as a powder. They're just both absolutely beautiful products. Yes. I feel like I want more blush. Feel like I want more blush. Maybe I'll just go in really hard. I'll get like a more targeted, yes, Rougher 04. Dirty Rougher. All of my brushes are dirty. Wait, this is infatuated. That's okay. I just want something even and balanced. And my cheeks don't feel, at least looking in the monitor, my cheeks just don't feel like they're living up to my expectations. God, these blushes, they are lovely. They really are. They're one of the nicest matte formulas I've ever used, besides Make Beauty. Make Beauty's micro suede, yeah, they're Skin Mimetic micro suede blushes. Those are gorgeous. I really like the matte blushes from House Labs, but these have just kind of jumped to hand more times than I care to count. I'm good with that. All right, I want to do a little bit of playing with the light. So this is the Phytosurgence Spectral Sunlight Cream Bronzer in the shade 1. So this is barely a color on me. It's a little yellow, but it's not exactly what I would call a bronzer. However, when I use it under my eyes, boom, 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 look at that. Now, most used makeup does not necessarily count as my favorite makeup. I have some other things that I really have loved this year, but I just couldn't fit them into this video. So we may have to do another video later in the year. But look at what putting that bronzer under my eyes does. They don't look so blue. They also don't look so hollow. There's a ridge right here. And just by counterbalancing the brightness, it makes everything look more cohesive. All right, as far as mascaras go, I have three. I have three mascaras that I have been loving. One of them I've used before and I know it's fantastic. This is the Make Beauty Lash Prototype. Now, for my needs right now, I don't want like a super thick, wet mascara. And this one is wet to the point where like I have to scrape the brush off once I've taken it out of the tube because there's so much product. But that also means that it's in theory going to have a longer shelf life. So I'm not going to use this today. I'm going to use one that I've been swimming a lot, and a lot of my makeup testing has been, how does this stand up to water? This is the Milani highly rated tubing mascara. I have been wearing this earlier this year. I was in love with this. So I'm going to use this again today. This is the KVD full sleeve tubing mascara. This one's a little bit thinner of a formula than the Milani. The Milani, spoiler for that review, this mascara is bananas. I've never seen a wet tubing formula that you can layer and build and you can get volume as well as length. This is bananas. It stands up to water. It did not stand up to me wearing goggles and having water get into my goggles. but it does stand up to water beautifully. We're going to wear the KVD because I'm not going swimming tonight. I'm just going to hang out with some friends. All right. I am going to switch. I'm going to put the Milani on top of this. This is a much drier formula than I remember it being, and it just doesn't layer the way this one does. I have gotten spoiled by this Milani mascara. Yeah, that's better. It even builds on top of other mascaras. That's all right. So that mascara does a job. It does transfer. So I usually have a spoolie, I let it dry, and then I'll go in and remove it. Most mascaras do that on me. So it's not that big of a deal. I can, and by transfer, I mean while it's wet. Once it dries, it doesn't budge. It lasts through swimming. I've showered in it. I just don't like scrub my face. And as far as lips go, one of the lip colors I've been reaching for more than anything is this Edam lip gloss. I have also been reaching for the Lisa Eldridge Baume Essential in Sweet Fig. I've been reaching for the Phytosurgence in, I can't remember the name. I can't remember the shade name, but it's gorgeous. These are next door in my handbag. So I'm going to use the Edam because it does still count as one of my most used, most loved products of this year. I do the Cool Touch applicator is so nice. My lips have been really dry lately. They really have. I've been dehydrated. And this is just completely disguised. I don't think I want to powder it because I want to be able to move it around if it gets gummy and weird. Something else I've been using so much this year is this Kosas powder. I hit pan on it and it's also been like the dome has been worn down quite a bit. The only problem I have with this powder is the packaging keeps breaking. Not keeps, but so I'm gonna powder around my mouth, up my nose, kind of the T-zone area. And then middle of my forehead, I just want this like soft, mochi skin glow. I feel like my hair is just doing its own thing today. I did recently wash it, but it looks greasy. I don't understand it. All right. So last product. This is my only bottle and it's almost gone and I love this stuff. This is MAC Fix Plus. It's just regular plain old MAC Fix Plus. And this is going to be interesting because the bottle's almost empty. Okay. Always keep a fan by your makeup station. Overall, I'm really happy with it. It looks really pretty. It's easy, it's nice and simple. It's not too many elements. Every step has been covered. there anything else that I really wanted to mention as a standout? The e.l.f. lip oil, the e.l.f. Reviver lip oil. These things are, they're amazing. I do find myself going through them pretty fast because the doe foot's huge. The lip oil itself is really thick, and that's what I like about it. But I feel like I go through them fast. That being said, it's like $7 or $8. It's totally worth it to me to repurchase this. Oh, my Oma, this, oh, what is this called? The Double Take Sculpting and Bronzing Powder in White Pearl. I hit pan. I hit pan. That that made me very happy. There's tons of powder. I'm not worried about not being able to get this again. Maiden's Blush from RMS. I have been working on a color experiment, and this has really bridged the gap. I kind of can't wait to film that video. I might do it tomorrow. All right, y'all, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any of these, or better yet, tell me what your most used products are. I'm curious. I just want to know. What are you using? What are you loving? What didn't you like? I thought about a best and worst, but I didn't buy a lot of new makeup that came out this year. Some of it I did, some of it I bought like old stuff. Regardless, I am thrilled. I hope y'all enjoyed my declutter series. I should put all of my declutters in a playlist, but I hope y'all enjoyed this long stream of overhead filming. I wish you and all of us a gentle, uneventful, easy 2025. I hope you are taking care of yourselves so you can take care of each other, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, folks.